I have a necklace that says boss on it that I wear every day, and I had to leave that at home. My company does running biomechanics analysis and physical therapy for runners and we're super successful. I got into music in my 40s. I bought a guitar and wrote my first song all with just one chord because that's all I could play. And so I made a YouTube video, and the first comment I got was from this woman talking about my clothes being too young for me. It was awful, and my heart was broken. And then I thought, wait a minute. Screw this lady, you know, and what anybody has to say about what we wear, who we love, none of it. You should be able to live your best life regardless of what the world wants to say. And so I decided to lean into that whole idea and name the band Trashy Annie. Just say, screw it. You think I dress too young for me? Okay. You know, I'm gonna get on stage in my tutu and my sparkly bra. I'm gonna do exactly what I wanna do. And Survivor does the same thing. I think it gives an outlet for people of all walks of life, all shapes and sizes, all experience levels to come together and try to do this crazy thing that none of us understand.
I'm in the dirt right now. You know, my feet are messy. I'm not used to this. I wear a suit to work every day. How much better could it get than this? I grew up a pretty privileged life. My parents didn't have it as easy. They were an interracial couple in the 80s when really that wasn't the most popular thing at the time. There are family members who didn't even attend my parents' wedding. I moved to Washington, D.C. the day after I graduated college, and I got to work. When I told my office that I was coming, I was like, they're gonna make me quit right now on the spot. My boss could not be more excited. She said, you're gonna go, you're gonna win, and she's obsessed with my dating life. She said, you're gonna find a wife too. I think a Survivor auction is an iconic event that I have to make it to because I have to prove the margarita curse wrong. Anyone who drinks a margarita goes home the next night. That's not gonna happen with me. I love my happy hours in DC, and so when I get the chance to get that margarita, I'm gonna drink it down and then be sure to win the game after that.
My spirit animal are panda bears. They're big and they're fluffy, but they have really sharp teeth and claws, and you would never expect that. I come from Windsor, Ontario. It's a very blue-collar city with GM, Chrysler, and Ford plants. And there weren't a lot of gay kids. There weren't a lot of Asian kids. I felt isolated, but I come from a very loving family who supported me my entire life. I grew up watching Survivor. My dad introduced me to the show when I was 14, season 2. It was something that we always watched together. We always disagreed on who we liked. He always liked the brawn, the strong male, and I always loved an underdog female. My mom doesn't know that I'm here. I want my mom to be watching Survivor and seeing me come up in the credits. She will love it so much. I'm a really big fan of astrology. It's how I'm able to understand people, how to adapt to them. I want to be the first male Taurus to ever win Survivor.
2 weeks ago, I was sitting on my couch watching Survivor with a cold beer in my hand, 4 feet of snow outside, minus 20, and now I'm sitting in Fiji. I grew up in a place called Regina, Saskatchewan, and moved to Australia just out of high school. I went there to play professional ice hockey. Did that for a year, got injured a couple times, had to shut that down. Ended up touring around with a male review show. Got to dance for thousands of women every single night, and yeah, terrible job though, terrible. Not fun at all. I married an Australian girl, brought her back to Canada, and that's where I live currently. Before I applied for Survivor, we were trying to get pregnant, 4.5 years of trying for that. Finally gave up, I applied for the show, and during the application process, we got pregnant. I gave her the option to bow out to be there, but she said, no, you gotta go and bring that money home and we'll have a family waiting for you. Now the sad thing about this is my dad has a medical condition right now called glaucoma, and his doctors gave him to the end of this year until he loses eyesight permanently, so season 49 will be the last season that he gets to see, and his son's gonna be on it. I have a lot in my back pocket here that I'm not playing for. If I'm feeling down in the dumps or if I'm feeling vulnerable at the time, I just gotta think of what's waiting for me back at home.
I'm sorry, I'm sweating so much. This is day 0 and I smell horrible. I'm from a small town in New Jersey. I grew up in a single-parent household, oldest of 5 kids, spent a lot of time at home babysitting those knuckleheads. But you know, when I was home with them, I was watching Survivor. Ever since I was 13 years old, I'm like, one day I'm gonna be out there. I went to school for video production, and that was my ticket out of my small town. I feel like a lot of other, you know, black men that look like me, they had to be good at football or basketball. I can't do that. So I've been in LA for the last 4 years doing video editing. Ever since I've been doing well in LA, my siblings have been like, oh, I want to go to college. I want to get out too. And it's just beautiful. I feel like I'm living proof that, like, you know, you should never give up, because this is crazy.
My mom, she doesn't even watch Survivor. She brought me a suitcase full of coconuts one day, and she's like, well, if you're gonna eat coconuts out there, like, you need to practice opening these. I grew up in Southern California. I'm like a son of Vietnamese immigrants. I am the first person in my family to go to college. I got into UCLA and I studied physics and math. You can't really go through life full ride scholarship valedictorian of your class without being a little smart. So humble I try to be, but there's evidence that I may be smart. I'm not physical. I think I just have little guy energy where I'm just smiley and goofy and I'm willing to be vulnerable. I think that I have what it takes because I am scared. I live in fear constantly. I'm like afraid right now. And I think that in Survivor, you're gonna be put in a lot of different scary situations. And because I'm scared all the time, I live in fear, all I can do is like muscle my way out.
My husband is very supportive of me being out here. He was like, do what you need to do. But he told me, do not come back without the money. If you didn't know, Oklahoma is the only state where every single county is red, and I am a black liberal that is not red at all, so I can deal with literally any type of person. My husband is my college sweetheart. He's my bestie. He's actually the one who started me watching Survivor. And then we have 2 kids. The past 5 years have been kind of crazy. I dealt with my mom having an addiction, and she died from a fentanyl overdose. And I was in a really dark spot through all of that. And then I saw season 45. It felt like it's time to kind of close that chapter and reclaim my life. And it was like the first time that I watched Survivor where Uncle Jeffrey said, apply now. And I was like, oh, I guess you're talking to me. Usually I ignored him. They always say trust your gut. And it was just like a gut thing, like it's time to apply.
I put people off at first. They think I'm gonna be like a mean girl or standoffish. I feel like I need to remember to smile so I don't have RBF. I'd never watched a single episode before season 47. I am a new Survivor fan. I'm not gonna tell anyone that though. I grew up in Texas. I'm Nigerian. My parents migrated over here. Nigerian parents, they want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, and I didn't do any of those. I moved to California. I didn't know a single soul. I didn't even really have a job lined up. I'm like, okay, look, I can do something different. I can still make you proud. So that's what I'm excited to show them. I think I have what it takes to win the million because I thrive off my own energy. I do boot camps 5 a.m. in the morning. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink energy drinks. I don't know, fake it till I make it. Like I get loud, I start jumping, and then all of a sudden you start feeling it.
Every time I go outside, somebody compliments my hair. And it's just like, I think this look just makes me a lot more approachable. I grew up in northern Utah. I was an odd little kid. Everyone wanted to be an astronaut or a fireman. I wanted to be a stockbroker. I followed it, and by the time I could legally buy beer, I was a Series 7 registered broker. I got to a point that I realized that's not really the trajectory I wanted to spend the next 70 years of my life on. And I shifted gears, and today I throw bags at the airport. I think I'm gonna do really well in the physical challenges. You go throw bags at the airport for 10 years, it builds a inner core strength. And then just with my age, no matter how good I eat and how often I hit the gym, you start to kind of look like this. You know, I'm a bit of a Trojan horse. They're not gonna see me coming.
there's like a lot of straight people here. So I think like adjusting to like being around a man with a six-pack is a lot for me. I was born in Long Island, New York, into a big Italian family. I'm one of four, I'm the oldest. And right before high school started, we actually moved to the middle of nowhere, Ohio. We miss bagels so much that my dad was like, let's just open a bagel deli. And then we all worked there. It was like the best thing ever because it made us so insular. I started watching Survivor in high school. It was season 28, Cagayan, that got us hooked. I can see Wu stealing Spencer's note right now and being like, through the jungle. The show has kind of evolved as I've evolved into adulthood. I watched it in high school with my family, and then when I moved away to New York after college, and now in Philly with my girlfriend. It's like our Wednesday night activity. Survivor right now is the perfect way to just lean into being a kid. And I need that right now. I want that right now. Because I am a kid, and it's my favorite thing to be. And I don't ever want to grow up. Ever.
I actually learned how to swim because I knew if one day I'd got on Survivor, I didn't want to be the black guy who couldn't swim. I grew up in a town called Clovis, California. I'm the youngest of four, and I had a single mom. I loved two things, movies and comic books. Moved to Los Angeles when I was 18. I started working in film, which culminated in producing movies such as Captain America: The Winter Soldier and Civil War, the Black Panther movie, and the sequel for Marvel Studios. I think Survivor is a game built for T'Challa, for the Black Panther. He's physically capable, he's intellectually incredibly smart, he's kind to people, but also knows that there's a greater good that needs to be served. I know there's not a lot of older people in this game, so there's not a lot of people who are leaving behind children like I'm leaving behind, and a wife that I love. And that stuff is tough. My youngest daughter said to me before I left, she said, I hope you don't make the merge so you can come home early.
To normal people, I'd say, my name's Rizzo. But to all my friends and family, I like to go by the man, the myth, the legend, R-I-Z-G-O-D, Riz God, baby. Both of my parents originated from Albania and immigrated to the States. They're both blue-collar workers, and I still proudly live at home with my parents, trying to help support them. My brother was diagnosed with autism at a very young age, so he kind of had life rough, didn't really have many friends, so I was his best friend, which is a badge of honor I take proudly. I want to come here and be the best. Like, I want to be on that Mount Rushmore. I want people to watch this season and say, wow, that Riz God kid left an impact on Survivor. Like, I want people to know that they can dream big, and when they dream big, their dreams do come true, because look at me. I always said I wanted to be on Survivor, and here we are 15 so years later from when I first saw the show. I'm here on the beaches of Fiji.
One of the ways I think people would consider me wacky is the fact that I collect pimples in a jar, very specifically blackheads. I actually grew up in a small country town in North Carolina. Neither of my parents are from North Carolina. My dad's from California, my mom's from Jersey, so kind of stuck out like a sore thumb just naturally. In the South, if you're a woman, you stay in this lane. If you're a dude, you stay in this lane, and I didn't really fit in either lane. I joined the military straight out of high school and then deployed to Afghanistan shortly after. One thing that the military did teach me is embrace the suck. So when things are extra sucky, I'm extra happy. I've been told a lot that when they first see me, they think I'm gonna be the B word. And I think it's just because I have an unfortunate resting face, also a lot of Botox in my forehead. And then they get to know me and they're like, you're kind of weird. And I'm like, I know, you just gotta get to know me. I'm very annoyingly persistent, and once I set my mind to something, I don't give up. And I've already set my mind to winning $1 million, so I feel pretty confident that I'm gonna find a way to make it happen.
The first thing I wanna do is have a dominating alliance, and I'm gonna start by picking the biggest guy or the biggest girl in my group and having them be my meat shield. I was born and raised in Miami. My parents grew up in Venezuela and Cuba, and they immigrated to America to find the American dream, and so I'm a product of that. I've been working since I was 13 years old, and from all the jobs that I've had, I realized I don't like to work for people. And so I got my master's degree in business. So now I own 3 businesses, and I have 10 employees. They're all men, they're all older than me. So I know how to deal with putting people in their place. I want people to look at me and think, there's no way that this girl's coming for me. And if she is, I'm not worried about it. And then that's when I'll strike hot and they're out of this game. I started watching Survivor when I was 7 years old. My grandmother was actually the biggest fan of Survivor, which is funny because she was a Cuban immigrant who didn't speak a lick of English. But Survivor taught her how. We watched the show together and she thought Jeff was the hottest guy on the planet. When I would tell her that I wanted to play this game, I would tell her, Lita, I'm gonna bring home the million. And she's like, don't worry about the money, just bring home Jeff.
I'm like this hippie, spiritual, love the energy of the moon, love the energy of the earth. I'm also a Virgo, if that means anything to anyone. My parents own a sports bar, and way back when, one of our bartenders decided to go on a little show called Survivor, and that bartender ended up being Boston Rob. So Survivor has been like low-key stalking me my whole life. I'm the oldest of 3, and I'm the only daughter. So I've always had a little boss energy. Okay, a lot of boss energy. My parents always said, Shannon, the world doesn't revolve around you. And then I realized, like, yeah, it actually does. I create my own reality. So I'm this mix of like the classic Donnie Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg, Bostonian guy with like a Stevie Nicks, Ram Dass essence to me as well. And I think when you bring the two together, you get this really divine, really wonderful combination of a masculine and feminine energy that has gotten me here to Survivor.
I know that I probably come across as someone who doesn't like the outdoors, who doesn't like to get dirty, but honestly, for $1 million, I've done a hell of a lot worse for a hell of a lot less. I was a happy surprise for my parents. They were young and they weren't necessarily prepared to have me. So when I was born, they were on welfare, but they worked their butts off to give my brother and myself like literally any opportunity we ever wanted. I wanted to make a positive impact in the world, and I thought that my best way of doing that was to become a journalist. And after about 10 years, I was very burnt out, and I decided, let's leave that chapter behind. So right now, I'm actually working as a marketing specialist for my parents' company. My parents still helping me out. I'm 31 years old. I have a strategy going in. I'm gonna create as stressful of a situation as possible, even for my allies. So I'm gonna sow like seeds of paranoia. I'm not afraid to take someone's jacket in the middle of the night and maybe misplace it, and I'll have the shoulder to cry on when they're ready to talk to their daughter or their best friend or their confidant.
Survivor is like a deep space exploration mission, except instead of a bunch of highly trained astronauts, you have 18 rascals that are conspiring to jettison each other outside of the airlock. I grew up in Denver, Colorado. I was kind of a nerd growing up. I am currently an aerospace engineer, and I work with NASA on tons of different studies, trying to get humans to go to the moon and Mars and beyond. On the side, I'm a musician, and I've been making music for my entire life.
Survivor watch party, let's go!
I have a dog. His name's Rupert, after Rupert from the Pearl Islands. I just fell in love with Rupert during COVID, and Rupert's season was the first one I watched. I have a beautiful girlfriend. She's the one that encouraged me to stop talking about applying. Every time Jeff is there, like, just apply. I'd be like, I could win this game. I could play this game. She's like, then do it.
Pink and orange. I couldn't pick, so I was like, why not both? If these go far, then I'm giving everybody my manicurist's name. I live in New York City, went to business school, and I've been in corporate America since I graduated undergrad. I'm in these New York City streets dating, which is sometimes great, sometimes so much fun, like you never know who you're gonna meet out. And then sometimes it's like you're getting ghosted and you wanna like text one of those boys like, how dare you do this to me? I grew up outside of DC. I'm the oldest of 4 children. I've been watching Survivor with my family since elementary school. I remember watching
Rob and Amber canoodling on screen, and my mom being like, I can't believe they're showing this on TV. And then I think it spurred her to like giving like the birds and the bees talk with me. We do like a family survivor competition every Christmas, and I am not allowed to participate anymore because now I've gone pro.